Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is my end of rotation video for internal medicine. So I'm going to talk about my overall experience with the rotation, things that I wish I knew beforehand, and then my most kind of memorable moment. Okay, so I'm currently at some random park that I found here in Fort Wayne with my dog. And we're going for a walk because Lord knows I need some mental health after going through that internal med NBME final. So I just needed to do something to kind of clear my head a little bit. So we're here. First thing on the agenda is talking about my overall experience with internal medicine. I thought the physicians I worked with were amazing. The patients I saw were also amazing. I saw a variety of patients. The hours weren't too bad. I was expecting 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. but obviously there were days I got off early, and there were also days where I was able to go in late. So I spent a week and a half in outpatient. That was amazing because I was able to go in at a later time, so like 8:30ish, 9, but then I kind of went home on later, so I was going home at around maybe 5 p.m. 6 p.m. one day, which is different from inpatient. So inpatient is when you see patients in the hospital. I went in earlier. I went in at like 6:30, and I was able to get out around maybe 4. So those were some ups and downs of outpatient and inpatient. So overall, I would probably give the rotation maybe a 8 out of 10, but I mean, it's my first rotation, so I really have nothing to compare it to. I wish I knew going into the rotation. So I saw a lot of patients with liver failure, with gallstones, so like gallbladder disease. I wish I kind of brushed up on studying for those, just because I was asked a lot of questions by my physicians about those diseases. So definitely know liver disease and gallbladder disease off the bat, because you will see majority of patients admitted because of that. And then of course, like as outpatient, I wish I knew more, or brushed up on like my diabetes background, because majority of patients that you will see will have type 2 diabetes or type 1. So definitely know those, know the the drugs that you would prescribe to patients for those, and definitely the pathophysiology behind like liver disease and what happens when your gallbladder is inflamed. So things like that will definitely help you. I know when I first started and I just got off of a 3-month vacation, and they were asking me questions like that, I didn't even know what the gallbladder was basically, and I was kind of bummed that I didn't really do any like studying about that before stepping foot into the hospital, which I should have done. So looking back, that is my advice for people going into internal medicine. Just know those 2 things. I think you'll be okay. The rest of the things are minor, so you'll learn along the way. Sorry, there's a lot of noises here and I'm really scared. Okay, so lastly, my most memorable moment in internal medicine was, it was kind of eye-opening moment for me. It was when I met this patient. He was coming in with a diagnosis, chipmunks, of pulmonary embolism. And it was interesting because this patient actually had something called a saddle pulmonary embolism. And so what that essentially is, it's basically the worst kind of pulmonary embolism you can have. We were taught that it can cause immediate death because of the way the embolism is placed, or where it's placed. So you have pulmonary arteries, right? So those are going to be the kind of the arteries that are going into the lungs from the heart. And you have 2. They're kind of split like this, right lung, left lung. And so what happens is that a clot gets stuck right in between these 2. And it kind of is like a saddle. So it'll sit and it'll kind of block both arteries. And so basically you have a clot kind of hindering blood flow into the lungs through both avenues, and that is essentially really bad. This guy, he's coming in, his only complaint is that he has some chest pain and shortness of breath. And other than that, he was like, going on his bike rides. He does a 5-mile bike ride in the morning, a 5-mile bike ride in the evening, and he just noticed that it was really hard to finish that. So he just, thought he would come in. He didn't really expect anything of it. We image him and we see the pulmonary embolism. So of course we admitted the guy. So my preceptor put me with this patient to kind of follow, his treatment plan. So he is a 74-year-old gentleman who's a retired teacher, and I got to learn so much about him and about his life. He traveled to basically every country in Europe, and he was telling me about all his different experiences there, which was also very interesting. One of the things he taught me was, to make time to do what you love. So whether that be traveling, whether that be, whatever hobby you have, make time to do it, because being able to do that will help you be happy, especially when you're so busy. And for me, as a medical student, it's very, very easy to kind of lose sight of doing things that you love because you're just so caught up in your schoolwork, your due dates, your requirements. And so I want to travel, and I've always, tried to travel, but, in undergrad and now in medical school, it's always been difficult to find the time. And now with the COVID pandemic, I kind of don't have that option anymore. And I like going to concerts and things like that. And this gentleman was just telling me his experiences of going to concerts in France and being able to sit and enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy other cultures that are out there. And he was telling me all of his experiences in South America, which is also somewhere I'd love to go one day. And I wish I would have taken more opportunities to pursue traveling and pursue indulging myself in other cultures before the pandemic. And I know traveling will open up soon, but it just opened my eyes to not take things for granted, concerts, traveling, being able to explore. I mean, that was basically taken from us for a couple months, and it's still not back on track. So it kind of just opened my eyes into, I should be more aware of what I want to do to make myself happy. The second thing I learned from this gentleman, so I know I've gotten a lot of kind of advice, go to the gym, it's good for you. I mean, everybody knows that, right? But I never really took it to heart until I met this guy. He obviously is an older person who is still very active. I believe the fact that he was able to survive and recover from that pulmonary embolism is because of his active lifestyle. His heart was extremely healthy. He had a normal ejection fraction for that age. So ejection fraction is basically how much the heart can pump out to the rest of the body. And as you age, or as you don't take care of yourself and you don't exercise and you don't eat right, and that can go down. And so that means less blood flow to your extremities, to your legs, to your arms, things like that, to the organs further from the heart. So, kidneys, things like that. So it just showed me the amount of good that exercise can do for a person. And, it's a lot cheaper than drugs. So when I say drugs, I mean pharmacotherapy. So medicines, working in outpatient, I've gone to learn how much these medicines cost patients, and it's extremely high for some. And exercising from a young age and being able to carry that out as you get older can just help someone so much. Obesity and things like that are a risk factor for basically everything you can think of. Heart attacks, strokes, all the major killers out there. Obesity definitely plays a very, very large role in that. I now try to go to the gym 3 times a week. I mean, and I'm really sticking to it this time, just because, you know, I don't want things to fall apart for my health once I hit like a certain age. And exercise just does wonders. I can't put it into words how much it does until you actually experience it, and something opens your eyes, like something opened mine. So I hope that my experience that I've shared with you guys today has been helpful, and hopefully motivates others to kind of, you know, be healthier for themselves mentally with doing what you love, and also physically, you know, keeping your body in shape. I think those were my goals with this video. So that is the end of my video for internal medicine and the end of my rotation with internal medicine. It was great. It was hard. It was difficult. It really tested my patience, my motivation, and there was definitely a lot of times where I was experiencing some imposter syndrome, which is a whole nother video about that. But I'm glad I made it through. So hopefully get back to you guys soon and get ready for my week with Family Med. So thanks guys, see you soon.